I'm just gonna go ahead and say bad, irrelevant, uninspiring, and especially unneeded. Is that a word, unneeded? I don't think it is. I'm only human after all. So I did this tier list last time in like 35 seconds and got pretty good feedback. But some of y'all really didn't like what I said. So I decided to maybe do this again, but kinda explain my choices. Okay, so FNaF 1, I feel like there's no real debate about this. I feel like FNaF 1 is just GOATed. So we're actually gonna rename this to GOATed. I feel like FNaF 1 does pretty much everything right. Alright, so FNaF 2. Is FNaF 2 also just GOATed? I feel like a lot of people would prefer the second one actually over the first one. You know what? I'm just gonna put it in GOATed, honestly. I feel like it also does most stuff right. It introduces a lot of new mechanics, a lot of new animatronics. I think it's a great sequel, or, you know, prequel, but a sequel as in the next game. Also, I feel like for FNaF 1 and FNaF 2, they both have perfect lore. I think that the lore of the first game is just a great idea, right? Then the second game very interestingly expands the idea with the whole prequel thing. And if I'm honest, I think that's how all games after FNaF 4 should have been. FNaF 3. I already know where I'm putting this. But first we need to create the tier actually. GOATed and... oh, that doesn't work. GOATed and underrated. That's too many R's. Bruh. I think that FNaF 3 also, just like the first two games, does exactly what it needs to do, and I think that people hate the game way too fucking much. I think FNaF 3 did such a cool spin on the idea, you know, having only one main animatronic and have all these side enemies that don't actually kill you but they just distract you. And the main thing what I love about the third game is the cameras, bro. You need to use the cameras in the third game. Not even mention that it introduces probably the most important character in the entire series, which is Springtrap / William Afton. I'm only human after all. I think that this game does so little wrong compared to what people say about it. Alright, FNaF 4. Here's the thing about FNaF 4. I think I love FNaF 4 way more than a lot of people do. It just felt like such a perfect finish to me. Like, here we go, Scott goes full in, scariest game in the series, right? Again, completely like changing the gameplay up, like completely this time, like no cameras, just a completely different gameplay feature, and goes in the past just like the second one, and this one goes in like to 83, I believe, and you see what was happening in the original restaurant. I think that's so good.
Okay, so the first night is never usually that bad in any of the games, so I'll play through.
What's up, guys?
So I think people will disagree with this, but I'm gonna put FNaF 4 into just GOATed. Here we go. Now we go to the point where people started to get kinda pissed at my choices. Now here's the thing. Anything past FNaF 4, I immediately have a negative vibe to. Because I believe that FNaF should have ended at FNaF 4. Or at least the story should have ended at FNaF 3, you know, Springtrap dying in the fire at the end. If all the games after FNaF 4 were actually just explaining the past, I think that'd be totally fine. Which is what Sister Location does, right? And that's one of the reasons why I kind of like Sister Location, because I think that the lore is just explaining more of the past. It's more about, I think, 1987, right, at the same time as FNaF 2, which would lead FNaF's Sister Location up really high, but there's a lot of things I don't like that much about the game. First of all, I feel like the game is trying to kinda be something that's not. Like, it has this weird, like, movement now, but it's not free roam, so it's kinda just like click to move situation. And I feel like if you already want the character to kind of move around, just make a free roam game at that point. But just not as bad as Security Breach, please. So that's something I don't like about Sister Location. The second thing I don't like is how the lore actually unfolds. I just don't like that the animatronics start talking in this game. I'm sorry. I think it's goofy, I think it's stupid, and I think it doesn't work. Because up till this point, all the games were kinda semi-realistic. right? It's all kind of set in like, oh, the 80s, oh, it's just like robots, they're moving, we don't know why. You know, it kind of makes sense. Yes, it doesn't really make sense that they're possessed realistically, right? It doesn't realistically make sense that William Afton is alive instead of Springtrap. Yes, I know. But just the general idea of just having a pizzeria with animatronics which started moving around, that whole idea and the story of William Afton who made the pizzeria just to kill children and everything, it all makes realistically sense. And then you bring in talking animatronics. And that just sends this game down at least to C, if not further down. For me. We're gonna rename this. I'm gonna name it Not Bad, but just kinda weird. Also, one of the reasons why I hate Sister Location is because I was so happy with FNaF 4 and it just pissed me off that there's another game after it. Okay, FNaF World. People said that FNaF World was goated, that it's really good and everything. So I looked a bit into FNaF World because I didn't really look into games after Sister Location. So I read that the lore doesn't even matter. There's no real lore in this game. And that's cool. I think that's fine. If Scott just wanted to make like a spin-off game on FNaF that doesn't really matter in the series, but it's just like a new thing, I think that's cool. And I heard that people liked it. So you know what? We'll put it in B. And we'll rename this to Cool Game No Lore. Here we are at the Pizzeria Simulator, or whatever this is. I'll be real. This game ruined FNaF 3 so fucking much for me. Holy shit. You have the perfect ending in FNaF 3, and then you just come up with a psych. Actually, William Afton is not dead. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? So this gets a D at max. Even, you know what? It's gonna get even less. You know what? We're just gonna rename it Goofy AF. Don't like it. What the fuck? Ultimate Custom Night. I think the idea is kinda cool to have every single character in the game together. But I think that this game should have been like FNaF World. Just like a spin-off with no lore. But guess what? It does have lore. So this shit is getting fucked right now. It's gonna get its own tier called Nice Idea Dog Shit Lore. And again, animatronics are talking, and fuck that, that's the most dog shit idea ever. This goes here, and we're gonna put this above the... There we go. Here we go. Help Wanted. First of all, I wanna say this game is terrifying in VR. This has to be the scariest horror experience I've had in my life. Here's why, because I swore that I will never play FNaF 4 because I'm so scared of it. And my friends forced me, well, not forced, but just convinced me in FNaF Help Wanted to play the dark rooms or whatever the shit is, which is kind of like FNaF 4. And I started the game and I just got like a panic attack. It was terrible. But realistically, looking at our tier list right now, it would kind of fit like here with Cool Game No Lore, but it does have lore and it's really bad. So I'm gonna add a row called Cool Game Without the Lore. That's all I have to say pretty much for Help Wanted. I think it's just a really good... Again, it should just be like a VR spin-off, I feel like, without any proper lore. Now here we go, the last thing. I'm not doing all... I don't know even what the hell the rest is. These are like DLCs or something. So the last thing, Security Breach. This game is so ass. It just makes it so much funnier how this was the first game, if we ignore Help Wanted, that Scott didn't make, or at least didn't make himself, right? And it's pretty much the worst out of everything here. I'm just gonna go ahead and say bad, irrelevant, uninspiring, and especially unneeded. Is that a word, unneeded? I don't think it is. There you go, that's exactly what you deserve. I do want to point out one thing, because someone said in the comments, if you just like super glitchy and badly made games to figure out all the ways you can break it, then go ahead, this is up here for you.